This is an IFR flight plan from Gloucester to Ostend. The filed flight plan is shown in magenta and the blue shows the route actually flown, slightly to the south of Heathrow because they were on runway 09. The extensive briefing pack from AutoRouter that I filed the flight plan through includes a comprehensive weather forecast showing that we'll be above cloud for most of the flight.
Golf Romeo Bravo, runway 09, clear for takeoff, surface wind is 090 knots.
Clear takeoff, runway 09, Golf Romeo Bravo.
Gloucester is outside controlled airspace, so they can open my flight plan, but only give me a procedural service until I get handed over to Bristol.
Golf Romeo Bravo, contact Gloucester approach, good day.
Approach, Golf Romeo Bravo.
Golf Echo Alpha, traffic just airborne, runway 09, southwestbound, climbing through your level IFR, is a TB20.
Traffic inside, student Golf Echo Alpha. Gloucester approach, Golf Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo, passing 1,200, climbing flight level 70.
Golf Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo, Gloucester approach procedural service, report passing flight level 50. Traffic overhead, tracking south-southeast bound, is a Cherokee, 2,700 feet.
Wilco and traffic not sighted, Golf Romeo Bravo.
Gloucester's initial departure clearance was climb direct towards Badim, not above flight level 70, and remain outside controlled airspace. But as soon as they can, they'll switch me to Bristol, who can then clear me into controlled airspace.
Golf Romeo Bravo, report your level.
Flight level 35, Golf Romeo Bravo.
Golf Romeo Bravo, roger, contact Bristol, radar now 125.650, bye.
125.650, Golf Romeo Bravo. Bristol radar, Golf Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo, passing flight level 40, climbing flight level 70.
Golf Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo, Bristol radar, good morning, squawk ident.
Squawk ident, Golf Romeo Bravo.
Golf Romeo Bravo, thank you. You are identified. You have a traffic service outside controlled airspace. And climb now, flight level 100.
Climb flight level 100, traffic service, Golf Romeo Bravo.
Golf Romeo Bravo, fly radar heading 140 degrees. You are clear to join controlled airspace in the climb.
Fly radar heading 140, clear to join in the climb, Golf Romeo Bravo.
Getting a clearance to join in the climb is really helpful because the performance of a single-engined aircraft isn't nearly as good as a commercial airliner, and the shortcut also cuts some time off my route.
Golf Romeo Bravo, radar service from Bristol terminates. You can contact London now on 134.755. Bye-bye.
Contact London 134.755, Golf Romeo Bravo. London Golf Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo, passing flight level 68, climbing flight level 100, radar heading 140.
Golf Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo, London, thank you. Stay on the heading. What level are you requesting?
Flight level 100 is good for us. We can go higher if required. Golf Romeo Bravo.
Golf Romeo Bravo, thank you. Just about to enter the airway. It's a radar control service. Just stay on the heading for me, please.
Radar control service, remain 140, Golf Romeo Bravo.
Climb flight 280, speedbird 175.
Speedbird 175, that's correct. Break, Golf Romeo Bravo, sorry, I think I've kept 20 there.
Just confirming radar control service, heading 140, Golf Romeo Bravo.
That's correct.
As you can see, we're still climbing and we've got some way to go to get to flight level 100. But once we're there, we are pretty much set up to fly for some time, well above the clouds, in controlled airspace under the direction of London Centre. And they'll hand us over between sectors as we progress, and they'll also give us slightly different headings to fly as they vector us between Heathrow and Gatwick. pretty close to our desired route. Throughout, it's really important to have one ear on the radio, listening out for your call sign in case you're given a new instruction. And in between, especially as we get closer to Heathrow and Gatwick, we'll hear a lot more, many more instructions to other aircraft being asked to climb and descend, although we may not see them all.
Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo, flyer heading of 085 degrees.
Left 085, Golf Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo.
On this aircraft, that simply means turning the course heading pointer onto that heading and letting the autopilot do the hard work.
Golf Romeo Bravo, actually turn left heading 070 degrees.
070 left, Golf Romeo Bravo.
The radar controller can see what my ground track is, and he can tell me to fly heading, and of course those are going to differ depending on the wind drift at this altitude, which may be considerably different from the wind on the ground. When flying on radar headings and being handed over between sector controllers, you're often prompted to pass that heading information onto the next controller so that he knows where you're going and how to deal with it.
Golf Romeo Bravo, report you're heading to London Control on 120.530. Goodbye.
Report heading London 120.530, Golf Romeo Bravo. London Golf Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo, maintaining flight level 100 and radar heading 070.
Golf Romeo Bravo, roger turn right, head 090 degrees.
Turn right heading 090, Golf Romeo Bravo.
At this point I can hear conversations with quite a few other commercial airliner traffic. I'm right between Heathrow and Gatwick airports at the moment, and I can even see one or two of those aircraft flying above and around me. There were one or two being put into the hold just off to my right over Ockham. Once clear of the congested airspace around the London airports, I can then be taken off of radar vectors and given a direct navigational route instead.
Golf Romeo Bravo, resume road navigation for Conan.
Out navigation Conan, Golf Romeo Bravo.
Conan is an airways reporting point on the FIR, or international boundary, between the UK and Belgium. It's about 2/3 of the way across the channel, and given that I've just overflown Biggin Hill, I've got about 70 miles to go before I get there. So that's given me a very good direct shortcut route back on my filed route towards my destination. There's fewer commercial airline traffic on frequency at this time, but we did hear one parachute dropping aircraft climbing up into controlled airspace to drop their passengers overboard, probably into Headcorn on our right hand side. Even though we're still in UK airspace, once London think that there's nothing to affect, they gave us an early handover to their colleagues at Ostend Approach.
Golf Romeo Bravo, contact Ostend now 120.6. Goodbye.
Ostend 120.6, Golf Romeo Bravo.
I had managed to listen to the Ostend 80th Foxtrot before this handover.
Ostend Golf Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo, maintaining flight level 100, information.
Golf Charlie Oscar Romeo Bravo, Ostend approach, radar contact, expect as approach, runway 08, information Foxtrot, QNH 1027.
Expect vectors ILS 08, QNH 1027, information Foxtrot, Golf Romeo Bravo.
With the slightly rising cloud base ahead of us, I would have quite liked to have just kept above it before we started our descent, but I made my request too late.
Golf Romeo Bravo, request climb flight level 110, brief later weather.
Golf Romeo Bravo, stand by. Romeo Bravo, can you descend?
We'll just remain this level for a few minutes while we go through some clouds, and then we're ready for descent.
Roger.
The outside air temperature here is about -17 C, so not expecting icing because it's too cold, but I was hoping to avoid any turbulence which you can sometimes find at the very tops of the clouds. This wasn't a factor on this flight.
Golf Romeo Bravo, fly heading 090, descend to 3000 feet, QNH 1027.
Fly heading 090, descend 3000 feet, 1027, Golf Romeo Bravo.
The controller is vectoring me for a straight-in approach on the ILS from quite some distance out.
Golf Romeo Bravo, turn left heading 080.
Left heading 8080, Romeo Bravo.
Golf Romeo Bravo, continue left heading 070.
070, Golf Romeo Bravo.
Well, perhaps that Gramet forecast wasn't quite so bad because we didn't have to descend really in through any cloud down from 10,000 feet down to 3,000 feet. And as you can see, we could have a good view of the coast and pick out the airport and runway from tens of miles away.
Golf Romeo Bravo, clear as approach, runway 08.
Cleared ILS approach, runway 08, Golf Romeo Bravo.
The GTN 650 that we have as the main navigation unit on the aircraft can automatically identify the ILS ground signal and give us the Morse code displayed correctly. But the tone that you might have just heard is me identing the DME.
Oh, sorry, Oscar Romeo Bravo, your number 3 for approach, contact tower 118.180, bye-bye.
Number 3, tower 118.180, Golf Romeo Bravo.
We've been cleared to fly the approach, but we're still 14 miles from the airport.
Ostend, tower Golf Charlie, Oscar Romeo Bravo, 14 miles on the ILS.
Golf Charlie, Oscar Romeo Bravo, send tower radar, contact, continue approach, number 3.
Continue approach, number 3, Golf Romeo Bravo. Right, I can see the runway ahead.
So I've already captured the localizer, and the autopilot is automatically tracking the correct direction towards the runway. But I'm descending now to 2,000 feet, and I'll level off and use the autopilot to capture the glide slope, and it will then fly the correct glide path down towards the runway as well. I've also slowed the aircraft down to our approach speed of 110 knots, which is giving us a slower ground speed because of the headwind.
Romeo Bravo, wind 040 degrees, 14 knots, runway 08, clear for land.
Clear land, runway 08, Golf Romeo Bravo.
As we get closer to the ground, the headwind backs and becomes more of a gusty crosswind, which is more apparent as we get closer to the ground. I switch off the autopilot, deploy the flaps, and make a manual touchdown.
Golf Romeo Bravo, vacate to the left, contact ground 121.908.
Vacate left, ground 121.908, Golf Romeo Bravo. Ostend ground, Golf Charlie, Oscar Romeo Bravo, vacated Echo 1.
Golf Charlie, Oscar Romeo Bravo, ground, current taxi left, 5 kilo, to apron 3 with the marshaller, good day.
Left and follow the marshaller, to apron 3, Golf Romeo Bravo.
It's certainly helpful at these larger airports to have follow-me vehicles which guide you and marshal you to your spot, and they also double up by acting as personnel transport to carry you to and from the main terminal, which has immigration, security and the airport office